But listen, Travis, you did good, hun, but you didn't go ahead and hold it down like Ellie the elephant did halftime at the Liberty game, okay? She went ahead and gave Beyonce a run for her money, honey.
Welcome to We Need to Talk Now, presented by AT&T. I'm Alicia J, and I'm here with Ashley Nicole Moss.
Hello, everyone.
Ashley, how are you doing today?
Listen, I'm doing good. I spent the weekend at the beach with my mom. We stayed at the Edition Hotel, one of my favorite hotels in Miami, and we had beautiful weather. And the day we were leaving to go back, my parents live a little bit more north of Miami, like 35 minutes north, 40, not far at all. It was pouring. So it was just like God was looking down. The weather gods were looking down. I got a nice little tan that I've been craving to get. Listen, shout out to all the brown skin girls who are out there who just look like this naturally. My light skin self got to lay out in the sun for 2 days straight to get this color. So like,
you see, I need to find the sun. So.
Girl, you need to get yourself a vacation.
I do. I do. I need one stat. Yeah,
you gotta. While you work on that, I'm going to remind the people that you can go ahead and follow us on all of our social media channels right there. We're on Insta, TikTok, X, Twitter, whatever the kids are calling it these days. You can also follow Alicia and I individually on our social channels as well. And if you are someone who likes to listen to your podcast rather than watch your podcast, that is okay too, because we have this QR code for you right here. And if you scan this, it is going to bring us up on wherever you get your podcast. So that's Spotify, Apple. We got you covered, all bases. So make sure you turn those notifications on and you're sharing with a friend who's sharing with another friend, because we got a lot of stuff to talk about these next few weeks. So
we sure do. And we need all y'all to comment, like, do all the things. Like Ashley said, share, because we all want to be in this conversation together. There's a lot to talk about. A lot.
That's right. Listen. And speaking of a lot to talk about, we're going to start things off first and foremost. And we're going to congratulate somebody that we know pretty well here at We Need to Talk Now. And We Need to Talk as a whole. And that is Swin Cash, because the girl, or the woman, I should say, just got a promotion. That is right. Swin Cash has officially been named the Senior Vice President of Basketball Operations for the New Orleans Pelicans, which makes her one of the highest ranking women in an NBA front office.
Congratulations, Swin. It's so huge. It's so huge. And she also has a platform called She's Got Time. And it's an amazing platform to help women in sports, women of color in sports, Black women in sports. So she has built that. It's like a labor of love for her, and definitely something she's passionate about. They're about to have a summit coming up in New Orleans, which I will be at. Really excited to be there. Yeah. And we'll definitely come back and report all the amazing things that happen there. But right now, just want to say, Swin, so incredibly proud of you and everything that you've done for women in sports, and how you are changing the NBA in so many ways. You have worked so hard. I was there for her Hall of Fame speech when she was inducted, and we actually posted it on the We Need to Talk platform, part of it today, because it was so powerful and it still rings true. And we are just so proud of you. We can't say it enough. So Swin, congratulations on every level.
Congratulations. Phenomenal speech, manifested that promotion in a sense, if you kind of think about it, said that in so many ways that the sky's the limit and she will not settle. And here she is, not settling. So manifestation is real, ladies and gentlemen. Just want to put that out.
It really is. It really is real. And one thing that we are definitely manifesting is just, peace and a quick recovery for Cameron Brink. This week, it was announced that she tore her ACL and her rookie season has unfortunately ended. We're just sending you light, love, all of those things, prayer, Cameron Brink. And one thing, unfortunately, that she won't be able to participate in is the 3x3 tournament for the Olympics. And they announced this week that De'Erica Hamby will be replacing her. Her teammate, actually, at the Sparks will be replacing her. And, I personally am really excited to see it. Hamby is currently ranked 10th in the WNBA in scoring, averaging 17.8 points per game. That's the highest scoring average of her career. She is balling out, okay? And then her 10.5 rebounds per game is third in the league. I personally am excited to see her. I wish that, obviously Cameron was not hurt and that she was playing, but since she is not, I'm really excited to see De'Erica on the team. What do you think about it, Ashley?
I love this. I'm a huge fan of De'Erica. We're actually social media friends, so just want to put that out there for anyone who's listening. So I'm very excited. I think she's dope. I love her family. Just adorable, adorable family. This is cool. It's obviously, it's unfortunate the way it happened. But I think that if you're Cam, if you had to get replaced by anybody, it being your teammate is kind of like bittersweet. It's bitter because it's not you, but it's sweet because it's somebody that you are in the trenches with rather night in and night out. You're practicing against this person. You have a relationship with this person. You bond with this person in some way, shape, or form. So it's kind of a passing of the torch. Like, girl, I can't go, but you go ahead and rep us both really well. So I just think that's really sweet. I like that.
Yeah, I think it's really sweet too. And people don't also understand that, somebody who replaces somebody or, if there's an injury or whatever happens, they also have to have experience and have been, kind of in the system. A lot of people were saying like, why isn't it this player? Why isn't it this player? Well, there are certain requirements that have to happen and she meets those requirements. So not only should she be there because of her play and, everything that she does on the court, but she also had previous experience in 5-on-5 and 3x3 play for the Olympics. She made her FIBA 3x3 Women's Series debut at the Springfield stop. And last year, she played on the gold medal team at the FIBA 3x3 America she won the tournament MVP honor. So definitely has the experience there too. So all the way around, I think that it's great for the team, great for the sport, and it's great for obviously De'Erica. So we can't wait to see y'all ball out.
Absolutely. Sure. Listen, and speaking of balling out, all right, apparently if you weren't rocking a stage over the past few days or, a halftime performance, you were not living. All right. So Travis Kelce, also known as Taylor Swift's boyfriend, he also happens to be a Hall of Fame tight end and 3-time Super Bowl winner. But
that too.
Big deal. He made his Eras Tour debut when he filled in for one of Taylor Swift's backup dancers at her tour stop in London. Top hat, tuxedo, and all. He lifted her up, brought her to the red couch. I believe it's like the transition between I Can Do It With a Broken Heart, which I think is off her new album that she implemented for this new leg of her tour because it coincides with the release of the album. I only know this because Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce information is just rammed down my throat constantly. So I know that. But listen, Travis, you did good, hun, but you didn't go ahead and hold it down like Ellie the Elephant did halftime at the Liberty game, okay? She went ahead and gave Beyonce a run for her money, honey. And I know you were in my hometown of New York City over the weekend. What was it like seeing the Queen E, I'm gonna call her, in person?
Listen, Queen E is right. So first of all, I'm sad that I missed that performance by like one game, I think. I was at the game prior. Yeah, so I didn't see that performance. So I am a little bummed out on that part. But I am a huge fan of Ellie on every single level. I used to work when I worked for the
She's fly.
Oh, I stand. Straight up stand. On her birthday, in my story, I wished her a happy birthday. I don't play games with Ellie.
Is it your favorite mascot like of all time? Is she a mascot? I feel like at this point she has a roster spot. You know what I
mean? Lightweight. But I will say when I worked at the Warriors, I worked in game operations. So that's everything that you see that's not the actual play of the game. So anything on the video board, the talent, everything that you're seeing that's executed, I managed that. And when we did have a mascot, we had Thunder before the Oklahoma City Thunder, renamed themselves. And so then we couldn't have Thunder anymore, but that's a whole nother story. But I helped with that mascot And I kind of became a mascot nerd because I had to like book their birthdays and book all the mascots in the area and, you know, all of that stuff. So I say all that to say, I love the art of being a mascot, like the personality that is in the suit. It is so hard to do. It is so hard.
I don't know how it is in the W, but I know they drop the payroll for those mascots in the NBA. They make bank. Okay.
Yes.
There are some mascots making $500,000 a year. I think
Absolutely.
one of the highest paid mascots in the NBA is I think his name's Benny the Bull from the Chicago Bulls, and he makes like $500,000. And it was like $500,000 for a team that lives in Chicago. You're dope, but your team's not very good. I'm like, that's crazy. They're getting paid in those suits.
No, they're definitely getting paid. Well, and they also have special appearances where they make
they work all
money.
year.
There's so many things that go into it. But what I do want to say is I know we see these high mascot salaries, but not everybody makes that. What I would say to you, Ellie, whoever you are, okay, I know Ellie is Ellie, make sure you getting paid because you are so amazing. Amazing, okay?
That money, honey.
When I tell you, because I did watch the game, but I watched Ellie a lot when I was there, never strayed from the character. Like never, Ellie was Ellie. Ellie is Ellie. Like when you watch Ellie, you are just like, that is an actual Ellie the elephant walking around this world because the character that's in it is so good. So all I would have to say is the team that is around Ellie, which is mostly Black, if not all Black women, I believe I read, which is amazing. But the team that's around Ellie is amazing. Whoever's doing the choreography and the character that is in that suit, Ellie, you are awesome. So whoever you are, you better be knowing your worth. Ellie, is what I'm saying.
You found your biggest fan, girl. Like,
no, listen, call me up. We can talk about numbers. Because you really are fantastic. And I'm telling you, all people are obviously watching the game as they should, but there were a lot of eyes on Ellie. People were so excited to meet her. I was up in a suite, so I was kind of like seeing a bird's eye view. And listen, Ellie is everything, period. And if you don't like her, we can't be friends. That's it. That's it. I mean, period. Listen, period. I was so excited about Ellie. I didn't even like throw to the next thing, but here we go. Okay. It's me. I'm supposed to be doing it. I was so excited, Ashley. I almost forgot to throw to the next thing. But what we're really excited to show you is this amazing interview with Sha'Carri Walker-Kimbrough. We had a fantastic time sitting down and talking to her about the WNBA and everything about the Mystics season. So check it out. Our interview with Sha'Carri Walker-Kimbrough. So many questions, but the one and the only Sha'Carri Walker-Kimbrough.
Hello.
I had to get all three names in. You know what I'm saying? I had to get them all in.
That was a great intro. Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
No, thank you for being here. And listen, we could not start this interview off without talking to you about fashion because from what I hear, you kicked off the tunnel fits, okay? You're the OG of the WNBA tunnel fits. And they've obviously like evolved and changed and just like the whole tunnel fit thing has grown so much. What has it been like to see, you know, the fashion in the WNBA evolve?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, most people know, and I'm sure you guys know, it's a great time to be a part of the WNBA and a fan of the WNBA right now. It's just exciting for me to see the different looks. And I know me and even my teammates and even some different people in the league and different teams, like we're always looking at different teams' social media accounts to see what everybody has on. So like I said, it's an exciting part. It's an exciting time to be a part of the league for sure.
Yeah. How do you go ahead and like source your outfits? Are you more like high-low, so you'll thrift some stuff, high fashion some stuff? Are you like Zara this, but Prada that? Like, what is your sweet spot when it comes to like your individual fashion and your like approach to the whole fashion game?
Yeah, for me, I'm super cheap. Super cheap. But I do shop. I do thrift a lot. And I do, in the off season, I play overseas. And so I do a lot of my shopping overseas with their different brands. I think they fit me better with my body type. So I do like to shop over there. and get different pieces over there and kind of like mix and match them with pieces I get over here, or, you know, my whole outfit may be from Europe.
Listen, we love a good Europe look over here, okay?
And it's cheaper. People don't realize that. You don't have to pay those international taxes like you do in the States. It's a lot smarter if you can go overseas and get your stuff. So
yeah, you might as well take a trip and do your shopping. You know what I'm saying?
I know that's right.
Do both of that. So you're talking about the WNBA evolving, and obviously this rookie class has done a lot for the league. Not saying that they've done everything. You know, I don't want anyone to come for me over here, but what have you thought about this rookie class and what they have brought to the WNBA?
They're amazing. They're amazing, top to bottom. I can go through so many names. I'm a fan of, you know, our rookie. She's great. Just her approach, like, I know I wasn't like that my rookie year, and even like other rookies on our team, just her approach. And obviously anyone that is basketball fans, we know what UConn women's basketball is to the game. And just coming from that culture, I mean, she's a testament of just hard work, grinding. And I mean, we need her to play well, and she steps up to the plate every single time. And that's rare in a rookie. Like, I mean, she wears it so well. She's so confident. She's so aggressive. And even the task that we asked her to do with, I mean, she's guarding Breonna Stewart's and Jonquel Jones. We're talking about like league MVPs and champions. And this is a rookie we're talking about. Like, she was literally in college classes 5 months ago. And that's not even just her, but like all of the rookies. Like we're seeing that with all of the hype, like they're stepping up to the plate. And it's like, it's a great thing to watch. And it's a great time to be a part of it for sure.
I couldn't agree more. This rookie class has been so amazing, but you're definitely not a rookie. You have been in the WNBA.
Ouch. That was like low key.
Well, I'm just saying she's a vet. She's tried and true. She's been in the WNBA for 7 seasons now, or 7 years, I should say. And your path, as I'm reading your story, you've been on many teams. You've been waived at one point. You know, it definitely hasn't been the easiest path, right, in the WNBA. So what kept you coming back to the game? What kept you literally coming back for more in the WNBA? I know you play overseas, but you know, the WNBA is a really, really hard league to be in and to get in and to stay in furthermore. So what kept you coming back?
Yeah, that right there, just the motivation. Just this, it's the best league in the world. And if I'm not shooting for the best, I feel like I'm shortening myself. So just being a part of it, it doesn't even feel like a job. Like, it's even crazy to say that I do this for a living, because young Tori would never think in a million years that I would be talking to you guys or in the situation that I'm in right now. But, you know, just being that it's the best league in the world, I always want to be a part of it for sure. And it's like I said, it's a great time to be a part of it. A lot of eyes, and it's a great moment for sure for not even just the WNBA, but women's basketball as a whole.
I think obviously in hindsight, the journey and everything that comes with it was worth it. But when you're in it, I feel like it's harder to kind of see the future and remain optimistic. So I kind of want you to take us through a moment where maybe you question whether this was for you, whether like you could go ahead and persevere and say, you know what, maybe it's time for me to just walk away and figure something else out.
Yeah. So I remember, I want to say it was 2021, when I was with the Atlanta Dream, and it was, I can't remember the exact date, but it was a Thursday, and our first game of the season was that Friday. So the next day, and I got waived after practice. Like, I was even getting extra shots, and they cut me like after my extra shots. I'm just like, y'all couldn't like, yeah, I couldn't do this. Like, you know, like,
before?
Yeah. So then after that, my agent's like, you know, Tori, don't worry. Like, you know, someone's going to pick you up. And I'm just like, but everyone has their teams already. Like, the season starts tomorrow. And so I'm just like, of course, like I'm feeling all the feels, not good feelings, obviously. But during that time, it was like, we're just coming out of COVID too. And I am trying to, I don't want to say I'm trying to stay motivated, but I'm trying to stay encouraged, because I don't know if a call is going to come. And so that's when I knew that I really loved what I did, because I was waking up at like, I think probably like 5:30, like almost like 6-7 days a week to go to the YMCA, because I wanted to beat the rush. I didn't want to catch COVID, because if someone called, it was just like a big protocol that if you got COVID, you had to stay in a hotel. Like, so I was like, I'm going to try to get to the gym early and just work and stay ready for a call that may not ever come. And so I did that for about, I'm not gonna lie, probably like 5 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, for like 5 weeks. It's like I just wanted to stay ready. I just didn't know if a call was ever gonna come. And at that time, I got drafted to DC, who I play for now. And Mike Tebow, the GM now, he was a coach at the time, but he's a GM now. And he called me. He was just like, just let me know if you're in shape. And I was like, Coach, I've been working out for like 5 weeks. He's like, I believe you. Can you come down tomorrow? He was like, can you come down Tuesday? I was like, I can come right now. If you send me the confirmation, I will come right now. And at that moment, like I knew, I was like, I love what I do. I wouldn't want to do it any other way.
Yeah, you stay ready so you don't have to get ready, right?
Oh, that's right. Love it.
Love. It was a great interview. And that is just a snippet. Definitely go over to our YouTube page to watch the whole thing. But her story is just amazing. Resilient is a word that comes to mind. And, you know, it was just so great sitting down and talking with her. So definitely head over to the YouTube page to watch the entire interview with her.
Definitely check that out. And also, if you didn't check out the Olympic swim trials, all right, over the weekend, you missed out on a good time. It was lit in there. I don't know if you saw the video circulating on social media of how filled up those stands were and the lights from the phone just like all around. It was crazy. It was dope. It was exhilarating. It was just a lot of other words I can't think of right now. It was fun to watch. And 2 world records were actually broken. The 100-meter butterfly by Gretchen Walsh. And then in the 100-meter backstroke, which is one of my favorites, Reagan Smith and Katie Ledecky qualified for her 4th Olympics. So absolutely congratulations over there. But I think one of the greatest stories of the week is none other than that of Simone Manuel. After becoming the first Black female swimmer to win an individual gold medal at the Olympics in 2016, Simone dealt with overtraining syndrome, something that she's been very upfront about. So for people who are unfamiliar with what that means, basically it occurs when a person exceeds their body's ability to recover from strenuous exercise. So you got to think overtraining syndrome, just constantly working out, constantly going. And she was able to get to the Tokyo Olympics, which is the Olympics before the one coming up, but only managed a bronze medal as an anchor on the 400-meter freestyle relay. Now, when I say only, I put that in quotes for people who are listening on audio, because like, I don't think I could win bronze at the Olympics. So I don't want to say only, but in retrospect, in comparison to silver and gold, only. All right. So I use that very loosely. But she spoke about how she contemplated walking away from swimming altogether, as many people actually did not believe that overtraining syndrome was even a real thing, and that she was just simply trying to justify her quote unquote poor performance at the Tokyo Olympics. She said, quote, "I've accomplished a lot in this sport. And I think that to an extent, some of the responses to what happened to me weren't completely gracious. I think in my mind, I was like, I don't have to put myself in a position to be vulnerable in front of the world again, just for them to not accept what happened to me was real and that this is not an excuse." So it's super interesting. You know, she returned to the pool in early 2023 and didn't make an attempt at last summer's World Championships. She said she basically, you know, that she wasn't done winning the 50-meter freestyle to qualify for an individual event at trials this past week. She made her 3rd Olympic team in the 4 100 freestyle relay, placing 4th in the 100-meter freestyle. And she said, quote, "I wanted it bad. I really wanted to swim an individual event. It wasn't that I was shocked that I couldn't win, because I know the work I put in and the racer that I am. It's more excitement. I'm glad it happened today. And then I was number 1 to touch the wall." Listen, this is insane, because to be an athlete and to have a syndrome that maybe isn't the most popular, it's not like we hear, you know, frequently about overtraining syndrome. I believe that both of us had to look it up because we weren't that familiar with it. But I feel like Google's free for a reason. And for people who maybe were not familiar or people who even doubted it was a real thing, that's fair because, again, we haven't heard of this frequently. A quick Google search could have just changed that. So to be dealing with something that, you can't test for and, is not going to come up on a chart necessarily or an X-ray or an MRI, but definitely affecting your ability to perform at the level you want to and to not be believed it sucks and it's just gross. And it's, I'm very sorry she had to go through that.
Well, and honestly, I think we should be talking about overtraining syndrome more because there's probably a lot more athletes that are afflicted by it that don't even know what it is because people aren't talking about it enough. I'm glad that we know about it now because, people could confuse the two. Like as somebody who's not really excelling in their sport when in actuality, they're really overtraining themselves because they want it so badly. So I just think this story, it inspires me so much because it's obviously a testament on not giving up, but also not listening to, I guess, like the haters or the people that don't know, right? These people that I'm sure a lot of it is on social media too, saying that she didn't have this and that, it was just an excuse and all of that. A lot of people would shut down when people say things like that. And she didn't. She went back and she got the treatment that she needed for the syndrome. I'm sure it's an ongoing process. And also just got back in the water and said, I'm going to do this. So I'm really excited to see her swim in the Olympics. I'm rooting for her. And I'm very inspired by everything that she's done to get there.
And it's interesting too, right? Because I feel like I don't see why overtraining syndrome would be such a hard thing for people to grasp as an actual syndrome, because you have to think about it. We have terminology for people who are frequently working out to lose weight, right? And I'm somebody who, when I was years and years ago, I'm somebody who was just going crazy doing cardio to lose like 25, 30 pounds that, again, I didn't even need to lose. It was all in my head. And that's referred to as body dysmorphia. And from body dysmorphia, you do things to go ahead and change the body you think you have versus realizing the body you actually have. And I was guilty of that. I don't want to say guilty, but I was a victim of body dysmorphia. And I still even struggle with it to this day. I think I see myself maybe heavier in certain places that I'm not. And then when I say it, people are like, are you crazy? Like, you want to lose 10 pounds where? Like, so it's weird to me that you're able to understand it in like normal everyday person, the scope of that, but you're not able to see that on a scale magnified by 100 when you're an athlete and your body is your brand. At the end of the day, me trying to lose 10 pounds is not going to make or break my brand or my job. As when you're an athlete, your body is it's your instrument. So to think that people wouldn't struggle with trying to lose weight or trying to put on muscle or trying to drop water weight or just training to reach a certain goal, that being such a far-fetched idea is actually very crazy to me that you can understand it for a normal everyday person, but not an athlete. That's insane.
Yeah, it really is. And I think this is also something that needs to be said is we can't tell somebody how to feel.
Yeah.
Like we can't tell somebody that what they're saying isn't accurate because we have our own internal feelings. So give people grace and understand that your vantage point is not their vantage point. How they feel about themselves. We all go through different things in life, whether it be training, the way we feel internally, the way that we see ourselves, where we're at in life, all of those things. And so give people grace, like believe people when they say they feel a certain way and support them in the ways that they need to be supported. And I'm just, we're here to support you 1000%. We're excited to see you swimming in the Olympics. We know you're going to rock it out because you have worked so hard to get back in the water in the way that you are. So we're rooting for you. We are definitely rooting for you. And, when we talk about rooting for teams and people, there's always a little bit of controversy in there, right? Like it's never going to be like clear cut. And definitely people that root for the San Diego Wave are many people are a little bit confused right now because they parted ways.
Yes.
Yeah, they parted ways with Casey Stoney, the head coach. So literally, Casey or Stoney, I should say. I don't know Casey like that. I probably shouldn't say by the first name, but been with the team for 3 seasons. So been with the club for 3 seasons. Helped San Diego to its first 2 trophies. So the NWSL Shield and the NWSL Challenge Cup. But, right now the team is in a rockier spot, in the midst of 7-game winless streak. So, 7 games without a win, obviously, and sits 9th in the league standings, and is 1 point outside of the playoffs as the season approaches the halfway mark. So, a little bit about where they're at now and where they were with the coach. They finished with a 24-15-8 regular season record, and then the team is 3-6-5 so far this season. And they had signed a contract extension through 2027 with a 2028 option in January. So obviously they had made plans. So there was a new GM of the team that was appointed, Camille Ashton, but they insist that had nothing to do with the change. So the actual president of the team, Jill Ellis, said, end quote, "We are immensely grateful to Casey for her commitment to our club and the positive impact she has had both on and off the pitch. Over the past seasons, Casey has guided us to significant milestones, and her contributions have been instrumental in laying a strong foundation on which to build. The decision to part ways was very hard and not made in haste, but given the ambition of this club and where we are in our season, we felt a change was necessary at this time." So very interesting statement.
Dicey. It's dicey.
But given that statement and the history with the club, do you think that they parted ways with Stoney too soon?
Yes. And I'll tell you why. I think that in general, sports' relationships with head coaches is a little bit toxic. I think that every club, organization, franchise goes through peaks and valleys, right? There are teams that are running the league, whatever league that may be, for X amount of seasons, and then players get older, players move on, and the team takes a dip. And the first person you want to blame for that is the head coach. Or you have a team that maybe goes into the season and they have these astronomical, unrealistic expectations, and the front office expects them to be able to win a chip with the pieces that they have and the coach that they have to be able to make that happen. But like looking at that roster, well, that's really not going to happen with all the talent that's around here and the bedded suited teams that are a little bit better, well constructed. You can go down the list. You can talk about what happened with Monty Williams, the Phoenix Suns, or what happened with the Lakers time and time again, or, the list goes on and on. We can go to football and talk about this. There's so many different examples. I think that the resume of a coach should be something that speaks for itself. And when you talk about a coach who has won multiple titles in whatever form they may come in for a certain club or organization, like I said, that grace should be given, because this is competitive sports and teams get better, and teams that used to run the league go ahead and fall back. That would be like the Aces firing Coach Becky because they have more losses this year than they did last year when they're just coming off of a 2-peat. That would be crazy. The league's gotten better. The league's gotten more competitive. There are new rookies that are now in the league that are making it more competitive. You can't stay number one forever. So to not go ahead and take that into consideration when, evaluating how a team's season has progressed thus far, I feel like is unfair. And I feel like also the locker room is affected by that, because these players have relationships with these coaches that when you fire a coach and you bring somebody else in, now you're starting from ground zero in that retrospect. And people underestimate chemistry and player-coach relationship and how far that takes you when it comes to winning a title or when it comes to making a playoff push. I just think that this was, to say it wasn't done in haste, it sounds like it was done in haste. Because if it wasn't, you would have given her the benefit of the doubt to try to fix it and maybe come back next season and try to fix it and then make a decision based on everything she's done for the club so far.
Yeah, it was in the middle of a season.
Crazy.
So that's definitely hasty. You had signed a contract extension, so you had plans because of the success that you had with this coach. And then you just say, all right, we don't really like where this is going. Halfway through the season, we're out.
We're out. No, it's crazy.
Yeah. And I understand that they say the direction that this club is going in, the expectations we have, all of that. But I think you almost set yourself back more when you start over to what you were saying, when you start over in the middle of a season and literally don't give the coach some grace to see if they can even turn it around, given the history. And also just like the fact that you signed a contract extension with them and gave them, your support. And then all of a sudden it's just like, you've been losing some games, we're out.
It's
that doesn't work either.
It's a little bit of a contradiction for sure.
Very much so. So definitely a very interesting move. We both think a very hastily move, if that's a word. I think I used it wrong.
Real hasty.
But it was hasty. It was hasty. And it'll be interesting to see how the San Diego Wave, rebuilds, I guess. Not even rebuilding, but, what they put into place to have this hastily winning season that they say that they want to have. So very interesting.
I hope it works out for you. You know what I mean? If not, you don't blame. I hope it works out for them, because that was a quick decision. And connections, good ones, are hard to come by. But speaking of connections, it is now our favorite segment. And it is a segment we like to call Connecting Changes Everything, presented by AT&T. Okay, so we're going to talk more about the trials, the Olympic trials, that is, but this time we're talking track, all right? And there was a shocking omission to the Olympic team that has people questioning the format, and that is the situation that transpired with Athing Mu. Now, the reigning Olympic gold medalist in the 800 meter will actually miss the event in Paris after she was tripped and fell during the final. Yes, you heard me correctly. After she was tripped and fell during the final. Now, Mo wound up finishing more than 22 seconds behind the winner, and only the top 3 finishers head to the Olympics to represent the Team USA in Paris. Her team filed an appeal, which was unsuccessful. Officials did not give any details into their reasoning. Now, she could still make the Olympic team in a relay, but she's arguably the best runner in the U.S., at least what they have in the 800 meter, and she won't go to Paris to defend her title or to represent the country. There was a statement given to the Associated Press, and it was from her coach, and basically said, I've coached it, I've preached it, I've watched it, and here's another indication that regardless of how good we are, we can leave some better athletes home than other countries have. It's part of our American way. Wow, that was a statement. That's basically saying we don't do anything right in America.
Well,
listen, I mean, first, let's dissect that. There's some more, what I do want to give a shout out to Nina Atkins, who won the fastest time, running the fastest time of her life. Also, 3 first-timers won the race for the Olympic trials. So congratulations to the first-timers. We do love to see that. Now, while other countries pick their teams with a selection committee, here's the interesting thing. The U.S. determines the Olympic team solely based on the results of the trials. And Mo's fall had some questioning whether or not this is actually the right way to pick the best of the best to send over to represent Team USA in the Olympics. Alicia, a lot to dissect here, but I think the biggest thing is the part that I just said. When you look at some other countries and they have selection committees, so it does not just come down to a specific trial, because, people have bad days and you can't go ahead and, justify or generalize, I should say, an entire career or skill set in one trial if that happens to be a bad day. The fact that we don't have a way to kind of check and balance that is a little bit insane.
Yeah, it is. I I hated watching it. It was awful to see, because you know that each and every one of the women out there on that track has just worked so hard to even get to the trial, right? And then to see like an accident, literally an accident happen that would take who is by, you know, the best runner out there in the 800 meter, let's just say what it is, out completely, was just so hard to watch. And it's one of the things that I really do not like about the trials is that, you know, you have all this history, you've won all these races, you've done all this to get there, and then something like that can just literally squash your entire dream and everything that you've worked for to get to that point. I hate that it happens, but I do hope that something like this does start more conversation around looking at the way that we do have people qualify for the Olympics, and in this case, in track and field. Because I do think that it is wild and crazy that you can put all this work in, have all these numbers behind you. We know that coming in, you are the best. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are, based on the history of you running. And then for something like that to just be like, nope, not going. I think it needs to be revisited and looked at. However, what I will say is now that is the way that it is, that we have it established. And so I was actually really, I don't want to say shocked, but it was interesting that you could even appeal it, because it was clearly a mistake, something that happened within the race, you know, and it does happen. As a matter of fact, the Nia Atkins, Akins, I'm sorry, I think I'm saying her name incorrectly, but she actually in one of her last races had the same thing happen to her, and she had to fight back to get back on the track to actually qualify for the Olympics. So it's something that does happen to athletes. It happened to a thing Mo, and I hate that it did. But I was interested in the appeal process because it's clearly something that does happen a lot. So I wasn't shocked to see that they didn't say that she could go, because that's part of the process, right?
Right.
But I would say moving forward, I would love to have more conversation about this and see what we can come to, because it is wild that this can happen to an athlete that has put in the work, has the numbers, and should really be representing us at the Olympics as the best athlete, in this case, the 800 meter.
It is crazy too about the conversation about the committee or lack thereof, because when you think about Team USA on the basketball side, there's a committee that decides who's going to be on those rosters. You know, it's not voting like the All-Star game, because if that was the case, people wouldn't have had an issue with the list that came out, because people that they wanted would be on there because it'd be a popularity contest. It's not. The committee selects the best of the best in the WNBA and in the NBA to go ahead and represent our country in the basketball portion of the Olympics. So it's interesting to me that that same process does not apply to every sport, or at least the major sports like swimming and track and things like that. It's just interesting to me that it's selective, that where there's a committee and where there's not. I feel like, to your point, not surprised by the appeal or lack thereof, the success of the appeal, but I am surprised by the entire process when you're talking about a sport as popular as track and field, to not have a committee that decides who's going to go ahead and represent us when you have it in other aspects of the Olympics. I don't know. It seems a little picky and choosy to me. It's weird.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, our goal, and we've talked about this in basketball as well, is to win gold. Yeah. We want the best of the best to be there. So if we know that this particular person is, right, and she is, everyone said she was the favorite, you know, coming into it and everything, there should be, we want to make sure we have the best out there. I'm not saying that whoever qualified is not. Please don't take that. I'm props to you for literally running the fastest time. And just everybody who did qualify in all of the events, like, not saying at all that you don't deserve to be there. But when we do know that we have somebody who is the best, who would help us get those gold medals, it's kind of hard to not have any input on that.
For sure.
So definitely something that we will keep looking out for, because that conversation has started and I'm sure that it's not going to end anytime soon. In keeping with Olympic track and field, we're going to talk about what's coming up. So what's up now? And listen, already, like, which is so crazy to me that we're this close to the Olympics, because, you know, you wait for it, and then it's like here, all of a sudden, yeah, it's a month away. We're halfway through the track and field trials. So Sha'Carri Richardson earned a trip to Paris in the 100 meter. Come on now. Come on. So excited. I just overjoyed, literally overjoyed to see that she's going to the Paris Olympics. She had the fastest time in the world this year. And she'll also be joined by her partners, Melissa Jefferson and Twanisha Terry, excuse me. So we're on a 2-day break. And after the break, Richardson will go for the 200 meter. And Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, and I hope I said it right now. She's married now. Yeah, yes, love her too.
I love her.
Love her too. She's going to compete in the 400 meter hurdles. So, you know, it's obviously an event that she hopes to go for golden in Paris. So really excited to see all of those trials. So those are definitely ahead. We'll be watching out for those. You know, looking at the trials that have happened so far, what has been your favorite moment? And then also, like, which moment are you looking forward to?
My favorite's just been the redemption of some athletes who didn't make the cut for the Tokyo Olympics. I just think that it just shows what a difference, you know, a year, 4 years in this case, can make. I think that sometimes, you know, people, myself included, you get so focused on, you know, what you're lacking in the moment, you know, what you don't have, or you're not in your career, in your profession, in your brand, whatever the case may be, that sometimes it's hard for you to sit back and just appreciate everything you've done to get to this point. And I think that with these trials, you kind of see those stories, you know, unfold in real time. And it's just been really cool to see, and heartfelt to see, people who didn't do what they wanted to do for the Tokyo Olympics, maybe didn't perform the way that they wanted to perform, maybe didn't even make the cut, to just have the redemption and just show that, like, you know, a delay is not a denial. It's one of my favorite sayings. And, you know, everything happens when it's supposed to. And, you know, just being selected to go ahead and represent the country is such an honor. And some people are lucky and fortunate enough to get selected every 4 years to do it and never really have to worry about, oh, I'm not going to get, like, they know they're a shoo-in. And then there are people who've had to work a little bit harder to go ahead and prove their worth, essentially, to go ahead and wear that flag and represent USA. So I'm happy for all of those people. And I'm excited to see whoever we send over, whatever those final rosters look like in all the different sports. I'm excited to see and represent us well, because I know that they will, and just show the world that best of the best is right here in the good old US of A.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Well, the best of the best are also right now. They are vying for the Commissioner's Cup tonight.
Don't ask me this question. You know how I'm going to pick.
No, listen, you took the words out of my mouth. I was like, I almost don't even need to ask you this question, but
you know who I'm going with.
It's Minnesota and New York. Who you going with? Let me just ask.
Listen, me and Ellie holding it down for the Liberty. Okay, listen, go Liberty. You already know I'm going with my girls. They've been killing it all season. I'm very, very upset. Not upset. I love the Olympics, but I'm upset this is an Olympic year. I don't want to see this pause happen. It's gonna piss me off, but they need the break. It's okay. I'm excited. This is gonna be a battle. We're talking about two of the best teams in the W right now. It's absolutely killing it. It's going to be a phenomenal game, but you already know I'm going with Liberty. Holding it down.
Well, you know, I'm Team Ellie, and I do love the Liberty, but I got to go with Minnesota on this one.
I'm telling Ellie you said that. That's crazy.
No. Okay, you didn't have to go that far. We're not. But I really think that, I mean, the team is balling. Like, they're doing great things this year, and I don't think they really get enough coverage, to be honest with you.
Minnesota, you know, like,
I'll be doing Minnesota like that.
No, you know, like, it's no different than any other sport. You know, when your bigger markets get more attention, and, you know, that's why they talk about the Lakers all the time, even if their Lakers aren't good. It's LA. You know what I mean? Like, it's just it's Minnesota. It's just not necessarily a market that people are like zoned in on, although they should be, because I think that it doesn't represent, just because they're in a city that's maybe not the sexiest, the team is balling. And like, if you like good basketball, you're watching them do their thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I really want them to ball out on this Commissioner's Cup and just be everywhere, because I want them to get more coverage, because they deserve it, period. I mean, all the W teams do, but right now, just with their record and everything, I really want to see them get that shine. So
listen, while I write a apology note to Minnesota, sorry, Minnesota, we're going to go ahead and wrap the show. Milwaukee already hates me. I don't want Minnesota to have any smoke with me.
Give her some grace, Minnesota. Give
me some grace. I try to reel it back. Listen, that does it for this episode of We Need to Talk Now, presented by AT&T. As always, if you want to go ahead and keep up with us or the show, all of our social channels are right there for you to go ahead and tap in with. And a QR code is going to pop up on the screen at the end of the pod. And you scan that and you can listen to us if you're more of an audible type of person, wherever you get your podcasts. And we'll be back next week with some more talk and more highlighting women's sports, the amazing women in sports. And you never know who's popping up to come say hi. So make sure you guys keep it locked, and we will see you next time.
See you next week.